Greetings! Welcome back to the Osha Cerese Show. I am your host, Osha Cerese, and this is where culture meets coaching, where healing meets headlines, and where we utilize alchemy to transmute gossip into growth. Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. If you are watching from any other place outside of YouTube, go ahead and mosey on over and subscribe because this is where the Osha Cerese Show lives, as well as so many other um, pieces of content that I have on there already and that I'm getting ready to post soon. So you want to stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well as clicking that bell so your notifications are on and you'll be able to enjoy the show live. This is a late night, weeknight pop-up show. And you want to make sure you are here when I pop up on your ass. So thank you for tuning in. Again, I'm Osha Cerese, certified life coach, event curator, and your dream doula, supporting you with birthing your ideas into reality. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You know, I've been kind of consistent with my little lemonade. This is a drink of the evening. We're going to toast to a wonderful episode 54. We're going to toast to happiness, great health, love, abundance, joy, bliss, peace, alignment, balance, and sexiness. Cheers. Mm. I'm not a smacker, but that was lip smacking good. Oh my goodness. Y'all, when I tell you, I've been a little drowsy today, so that's why I'm here super late. But I'm glad you all are here with me. We made it. I ain't forget about y'all. We have made it here. So that's kind of what I want to talk about because we are honoring National Stress Awareness Month in the month of April. So today's topic in relationship to stress management, stress awareness. Um, we are in this world where we are just constantly on the go. In this country, at least, we always hustling and bustling, trying to make sure that we are um, able to take care of our responsibilities. If you are an entrepreneur like myself or self-employed like myself, you are not just tied into a 9 to 5 and you just get to clock out and go home and not think about it. You are literally on the clock always if you don't have certain boundaries set, if you don't have your schedules straightened out and on point. You can find yourself working at any time of day. Like last night, I was up preparing for a meeting today, editing a YouTube video, um, and I've been in and out of things all day today. Meetings, phone calls, editing, researching, studying, doing all type of things. So sometimes I could find myself a little off balance. I'm a life coach. I support people on their journey as well, but I'm human. And my specialty is not time management, I'll tell you that. But I do have some tips and tools for my clients if they do struggle with time management, even if I don't always take my own advice. Um, but yes, one of my gems that I have discovered when it comes to managing time and energy and productivity and all of the things is human design. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit today. What's up, realists? Thank you for pulling up. I don't know if they updated StreamYard, but it doesn't let me click the same way that it used to. That's why I be looking crazy now, like, what's going on? But anyway, human design, for those who don't know, it's a particular archetype that you can fall under that kind of supports you with learning to live in flow. Um, and it kind of blends astrology and your chakra or chakra, as we call it here in America, your chakra system, um, Qing and quantum physics. And it kind of just gives you an insight on how energy best operates. So I am a firm believer in certain things that are just divinely given to us to help support us on our journey in life. Everybody don't believe in everything. I get it. But I know personally my archetype in human design is projector, and everything about being a projector resonates with me. When I found out about human design and I learned what my archetype was and I started looking into it, everything that I see about projector type, it makes me feel seen. It makes me feel like, like you get me. You understand why I am the way I am. So I wanted to go over some of the projector types and um, a little bit of fun facts about each one. You know, if you want to learn more about it, you can definitely just search it into whatever your search engine is, and you can type in your information to find out what your exact archetype is. But I'm going to just give you a little bit of fun facts for each one. So there is a manifestor type, and that energy type is the initiator. And this is approximately 9% of people who are manifestors in the world. So the key traits are natural born leaders and initiators, visionaries, independent, driven to make things happen, often feel a deep urge to act and create without waiting for permission. Um, so some of the strategies for a manifestor is to inform before you act. So when a manifestor is in alignment, they feel peaceful and powerful, and when they're out of alignment, they may feel angry or misunderstood. So the best way to operate as a manifestor is to trust your inner urges and ideas. Let people know what you're about to do to avoid resistance, and you're here to initiate, not wait. So just honor your impulses. So when you get those downloads, go ahead and just act on them, because that's what you're built to do. Then we have the generator. The energy type is builder slash doer. And this is 37% of the population. So, excuse me, some of the key traits are sustainable energy when doing what they love, responds to life rather than initiating. So they react to the action. For every action, there's a reaction. And they light up with enthusiasm when aligned with the right people or the right work. Their strategy is to wait to respond to people, opportunities, and stimuli. So when in alignment, the generator feels satisfied. When out of alignment, they feel frustrated. So the best way to operate as a generator is to not chase. Don't chase. Respond to what life presents to you. Only say yes when your gut says yes. So listen to your intuition, and work should feel energizing and not draining if you're a generator. So there's a different type that kind of blends both of the first and second one that I just talked about, is the manifesting generator. And the energy type is multitasking hybrid of manifestor and generator. This is approximately 33% of the population. And their key traits are fast, efficient, multi-passionate, and non-linear. They can pivot quickly or skip steps that don't feel aligned, and they often feel pressured to pick one thing but thrive doing many. Their strategy: wait to respond, then inform. So it's kind of a combination of the two before. When they're in alignment, they feel satisfied and successful, and when out of alignment, feel frustrated and angry. So the best way to operate is to don't force yourself into one path. Explore all that excites you. Inform others when shifting gears so they can keep up with your ass. Because you all over the place. And let go of people's expectations to be linear or predictable. Projector, like yours truly, the energy type is the guide and advisor. This is approximately 20% of the population. The key traits: we're deeply insightful about others, natural teachers, coaches, and leaders. Not here to work like the other types. We need rest and recognition. And we thrive when seen and invited into the right spaces. So our strategy is to wait for the invitation. When in alignment, we feel successful and recognized, and when out of alignment, we feel bitter. I don't like feeling bitter now. So the best way for us to operate is to rest often. Our energy works best in short, focused bursts. Wait for invitations to guide, advise, and lead to be truly heard. So we have to stop with the unsolicited advice. And then we have to protect our energy from over giving or over proving. And I'm going to come back to that after I talk about the fifth and final archetype. So there is reflector archetype, is the energy type for them is mirror or community barometer. And this is only 1% of the population. So the key traits are they're extremely rare and highly sensitive to environments. They reflect the health or dysfunction of the community they're in, and they need time and space to make decisions. Their strategy should be to wait a full lunar cycle, aka 28 days, before making major decisions. When in alignment, they feel surprised in a good way, and when out of alignment, they feel disappointed. So the best way to operate is to surround yourself with uplifting people and spaces. Your environment is literally everything, since you soak up and you reflect back what you are surrounded by. Give yourself time to make decisions because clarity comes with patience for you. And you are the mirror, so learn to discern what's yours and what's not. A lot of times you'll be walking around with somebody's, with, just the feeling of sadness, depression, anger, or whatever it is, and that energy is not even yours. It doesn't even belong to you. So I definitely encourage people to look up their human design. As much as people want to say things don't, they're not true, that's not accurate, it's not valid. It's so much validity in human design that I've found that I definitely recommend it to others. Even when I do my strategy calls, if I create a um, content plan or a strategy plan for somebody, I prefer to keep their human design archetype in mind when I am creating that, because what one person should do as far as their strategy is totally different from what other people should do. Like rewinding back to me being a projector, I can't be I will get burnt out quickly if I'm just constantly work, 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 do, just steadily trying to put things out. And I've tried, trust me, I've tried to be like super consistent with like going super hard with things and overdoing it and trying to be there for everybody, hold space, advise, handle things, give solutions. It creates burnout. So I have to be aware of my limits, and I have to literally work with my own energy. As y'all can see, I probably look tired right now. I ain't got no makeup on. I'm chilling. I barely got to set up for tonight's show because today was a tired day. And not only is it because I'm a projector, it's just a part of the cycle that I'm in as a woman. Um, your girl is a little tired this week. But when it comes to work and when it comes to productivity, however you say it, um, I have to keep in mind that rest is my friend. I have to also keep in mind that, like I said, the unsolicited advice and solutions, because I usually, if somebody is telling me something, I'm trying to figure out what the solution is, what something helpful to say, holding space for people. It just comes naturally to me. It's a natural gift that I've always had since I was a child, even before life coaching was even on the table. But just having to be um, aware that I need to wait on the invitation or wait for the openness or wait for the desire of somebody to reach out to me for my natural gifts versus me just trying to push it on them. And like it says that people who are projector types, we often do a lot for people or support people in many ways or help people with certain things, and then it's not recognized, acknowledged, appreciated, and then that creates bitterness, resentment, upset feelings. You want to be distant. You feel like people don't get you or understand you or see you or hear you, when it's a matter of not necessarily trying to change or force other people to see you and understand you. You have to see and understand yourself and your own gifts and recognize when and where and who to give it to. So again, I encourage you to look up your search engine, type in human design. You do need to know your birth time. So it's your birthplace, wherever you were born, the date and the time, and you will be able to figure out your human design. And then once you do, if you are a social media person, you can look up, your when you find out your archetype on whatever platform you decide to find it on, it will tell you a lot about your archetype. But I also encourage you to like follow pages of human design on Instagram, because they give you little quotes and reminders and different things that just kind of keep you motivated or remind you of, what resonates with your archetype. I just saw something earlier today about projector types. It says, when you're out of alignment, your body fills with what it can't process: puffiness, water retention, sluggish lymph, and a fatigue that sleep can't fix. Your system was never designed to carry this much. Not all the emotional labor, the constant doing, the seeking of worth through output. Your glow returns the moment you stop, the moment you pull your energy back, the moment you realize that stillness is not laziness, it's sacred. When you stop overgiving, your beauty softens. Or you become captivating by doing less. So when I see those little things on my timeline, again, like I said, everything that I see about a projector, it literally resonates, and it makes me feel like you get me, because sometimes when I rest or take the much needed breaks that I do every now and then, I do struggle with a little bit of guilt of resting. It's like something makes me feel like I have to always be productive. I have to always be doing something, because there's always something that needs to be done, whether it's within your house, in your business. There's always something to be done, but it is our right, not just as a projector type, but just as a whole, for us to get rest. And that is what I encourage everybody to be able to take breaks, sit down sometimes, take a day off, take some time out to just take care of yourself and to breathe. So that is what I would say on that. Realist, you said you were an insomniac. I don't know why these things won't let me tap on them anymore. And you've been an insomniac for years. So explain to me how that works for you. Like, is it that no matter how tired you are, when you lay down, you just can't fall asleep, or you're just not tired? Sweet Tea Inspiration says, I felt that way also, and when I replenish, I feel better. Rest is our best friend. Absolutely. It is. And I just hope that we can let go of that feeling of guilt or feeling of a need to always be productive, because there's nothing on this earth that doesn't rest. Even as we see with this just being spring coming back, like literally nature has been resting. The leaves fell off the trees, the grass turned brown, the the weather, the temperatures got cold, and everything went into hibernation and rest. And now we're seeing everything flourishing and blossoming and blooming, and the pollen is pollinating, but it's coming back to life. And we have to mirror nature. Nature tells us exactly what we need to be doing. We have cycles that we're on that are not natural to our bodies. This Gregorian calendar and this 9 to 5 and all of this man-made stuff that is just not in alignment for our bodies. And then as women, we have completely different cycles as men. So we're completely on the wrong type of cycle for us as women too. Really says, no matter what I do, I have to force myself to lay down. So again, is it that you're tired, but you don't? I need you to explain it better to me. Like, you have to force yourself to lay down. Does that mean that you're just trying to be busy, or you're not tired, or you're tired but you just? I'm not. Like, don't use lay down. Like, is it the sleep part, or is it the just getting in the bed that's hard for you to do? Peace, the word 9% is in the building. Thank you for pulling up. What's up, Commander Alpha Turkey? Y'all got some fun usernames. Y'all gonna have to explain those to me one day. Because I will say, knock on wood, knock on my wooden desk, I don't necessarily struggle with insomnia. Like, when I lay down, if I close my eyes, I'm gonna go to sleep. But I do struggle with fighting sleep, and I've done this my whole life since I can remember, since childhood. I know that my dad used to have like strict bedtimes, and even in summertime, sometimes I'll have to go to bed early. And I just always had FOMO, like fear of missing out. Something about midnight for me. I felt like if I went to sleep before midnight, I was missing out on something. I don't know why. But as an adult, I don't know. I've always been a night owl. So even if I'm exhausted, like if I'm on the couch, I fall asleep on the couch or something, like just fight and sleep. I'd be thinking like, girl, just go get in your bed. And then when I get in my bed, sometimes I just stay up and do things. If I'm not scrolling or listening to something, a podcast or something, doing some work. But when I'm being focused and I know I have things to do the next day early, I have a nice bedtime routine. But other than that, I'm a night owl. So I know in the winter time, it usually after daylight savings time ends, when it starts getting dark super early, like around 5 p.m., my whole schedule is thrown off. So I know this past winter, I was staying up to like, the norm for me is like 3 o'clock. So then it was 3, and then after a while it became 4, and then 5, and then 7, and then I'm like, oh, the sun is out. Then it became like 10 a.m. So the winter time I was struggling with having a completely nocturnal type schedule. Like, I was up all night and then not even sleep all day, because after a while you can't really sleep when everybody in the world is alive and awake. So I would sleep for a few hours and then repeat until I shifted my schedule and shifted my rising routine. I started getting outside, walking every day, and that kind of helped put me back on track. But now I feel myself slipping back into that late night schedule too. Realist says it's hard to explain. It started years ago. I get sleepy and I just ignore it and continue multitasking to the point it's build up. I have to be extremely tired to sleep. What, if you don't mind sharing, what year were you born? I'm trying to figure something out. I used to sleep at night good until I did midnight shift. Been messed up ever since. Oh yeah, that night shift will throw you off. I did work the night shift when I was in nursing. Whew. Trying to see how long. I don't know if it was maybe around a year. And I just remember always being tired, looking tired, feeling tired. No amount of sleep made me feel rested. And I think I was doing, I think it was either 3 12s a week or 3 12s one week, 4 12s the next week. So like built in overtime. And like, of course, you do your 312s. The day after the day you come home and you don't have to go to work that next day, you sleep that whole day away, and then you try to revamp your schedule the following day. I don't recommend night shift. Period. Oh, you were born in 91. I was just trying to figure out if it was a millennial thing because I don't know. I hear other fellow millennials saying the same thing about, just fighting sleep, not wanting to go lay our butts down. I don't know what that is. I'm an 88 baby, so I'm a few years older than you. Oh, you did it for 2 years. 2 years too many, the plan. But yeah, night shift, I like the actual shift, like especially in nursing because night shift, you don't have to deal with administration. You don't have to deal with families coming in, yapping and complaining and talking. The residents are asleep for the most part. Every now and then they might wake up. You kind of just go in there, you get your, as a nurse. Was I doing, I'm trying to think, did I do night shift when I was a CNA too? I don't think so, only as a nurse. So we would get in, get our report, do our rounds, do our did we do evening med pass? No, I think the day shift did evening. So do our night med pass after dinner. Go in there and do our checks, check their skin and all of that. Um, for skin tears and bruises and wounds, do any kind of wound care that's needed, and you Gucci. You get up, you start doing your round. You do your rounds every couple hours to check on them, do their vitals, whatever you need to do. You get up, not get up, but you start getting them up around. I don't even know what time. Maybe 5 or 6. You start doing your morning rounds to give them their medicine. You give your report to the nurse, or you got to chart all night too. So you're gonna be charting all night, do your report, and that's pretty much it. But when you work the day shift, it's so much going on. You got to deal with families, administration, meetings, drama between CNAs and the damn kitchen staff, and just so many things going on. And then you got physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy coming in and out. It's a lot. So there's pros and cons to working them different shifts, but that rest gets thrown off for sure. The word says, I feel old now. 84 was the best year just because the word was born. Just kidding. The Tigers won the World Series. I don't know. I just feel like 88 was just an amazing year. I don't know. 80s babies, 90s babies. And I've never heard anybody argue down that if you were born in the 80s, you're not an 80s baby unless you were raised in the 80s, until literally like the past 2 weeks I've seen and met somebody that had that debate that if you were born in the 80s but raised in the 90s, you're technically a 90s baby. No, 80s baby, 90s raised me, but I'm still an 80s baby. I don't know where y'all be getting y'all logic. But anyway, y'all make sure y'all get y'all human design and learn more about your human design archetype. So let's get into the topics because I've been talking for 30 minutes. So I wanted to talk about a music video that dropped last Friday from my girl Ciara. She just dropped a video to her song Ecstasy. Go CC. That's all I can say. Like, I love me some Ciara. I think that she's dope. She's probably like a year older than me. And I remember seeing her in concert when I was, how old was I? I was a teenager, but I don't remember exactly how old I was. I saw her twice in person. So once performing at a concert, and then when I was probably like 14, she came to Denver for All-Star Weekend. And me and my mom had went downtown to the 16th Street Mall, and um, it was all type of people was there. We saw T.I. perform, and Ciara was just so happened to be in a diner sitting in there. But I love me some Cece. And let me just acknowledge the word says, what is my human design? Mine is projector. So I went over all the human designs, but I'm a projector type. So you have to play it back because I talked about how projector type, how when I learned about it, it resonated so much with me because I am definitely it. I could be the poster child for projector human design archetype. But yeah, so Ciara, she has, been in and out of the headlines over the years between her career, her relationships, and her marriage and all of the things. So I'm just loving the energy around what she's doing right now. She dropped a video on Friday. Super, super, super sexy. She looks great. She looks amazing. She got 4 kids. It's like 4 kids wear. Body is bodying. She looks amazing. The song is nice. I think it stays within her range, her vocals. She got the Janet Jackson type vocals. So I think that the song was really great for her. She sounds good on it. She looks good in the video. And Ciara is one of the best, if not the best, female dancers that we have in the industry. I don't think too many people is touching her when it comes to dance. There's, Tiana Taylor can dance, of course. Victoria Monet, she does good with dance. I'm talking about like the generation now. But Ciara, she's just that girl when it comes to dance. But this time she was giving us the sensual, sultry, sexy, exotic moves. She was cutting up. She was showing skin. She was expressing herself. And I'm all the way here for it. I love it. But one of the things that I love the most is the way her husband, Russell Wilson, supports her in her full expression, like her full feminine expression, expressing her sensuality, expressing um, her art, whether she's showing some skin, whether it's fashion, whether it's dance, whether it's song, like he's fully supporting his woman. And I think that it used to be criticized very heavily how supportive Russell Wilson is to Ciara, and maybe it still is, but I personally am not seeing it lately, and I appreciate that because I think that it's about time that people, first of all, not criticize a man for what he supports his own wife in doing when it's not hurting anybody, but just getting used to the idea that she is a woman and she was a complete individual before she met her husband. And yes, there are certain things that change and shift when you get married, but having somebody that completely sees you, honors you, accepts you, to me, the equivalent of love is acceptance. So I really love that he accepts her in totality, and not just even with the sexy stuff and the revealing clothes and all of that, but just every part of her. Like sometimes Cece is sometimes she's in her masculine energy a little bit. Sometimes she might be sea walking and, dressing in baggy clothes and dancing and, playing around with her sons. And, she kind of taps into that masculine energy a little bit, and he rocks with her on that too. So I just really love to see that. And I think that it's a beautiful thing. A lot of people criticize their relationship. They feel like, the talk used to be that Ciara didn't deserve a Russell Wilson because she's dated other guys in the industry and has a child by Future and all of that. But I just think that it is ridiculous to not feel like a woman can be deserving of love, of healthy love, just because of what she's been through in her past. Again, everybody has their boundaries, everybody has their standards of what they will and will not accept for their particular partner and their person, but keyword on their partner or their person. The fact that people was trying to drag Russell Wilson for choosing Ciara, that's his woman. I don't get it. Uh, there was a some type of award show maybe last year where she wore a see-through dress, and woo, the people were big mad. They were livid. Um, especially because Russell is such a wholesome type guy, and very, very vocal about his religion and his faith, being a Christian man. I think that they feel that she should be more modest and more in alignment with that image. But he said, he made it clear that when he was speaking his wife into existence and praying for his wife and manifesting his wife, he said that he wanted a wife that can, I think he said, shake the room or shift the room. So he got that. He definitely did. Rilla says, you remember that damn dress? And what were your thoughts? I don't understand why StreamYard is not letting me do what I do. Y'all got y'all payment yesterday. I needed to be quicker and faster with me clicking these buttons. Who do I complain to? And thank you, Commander Alpha Turkey. Yes, y'all hit them likes and share. The dress was what? And then it's interesting too that you'll see a lot of criticism when it comes to Ciara, but Beyonce don't get that same type of energy, because Beyonce had a similar type of dress. I think it was earlier this year or late last year that kind of showed the same body parts that Ciara's dress showed. You didn't hear a word about it. Rilla says, I don't think I would have wanted her to wear it if she was my wife. And I can appreciate you saying that if she was your wife. And that's why I also always say that it's important to vet, because usually if a woman is interested in wearing those type of outfits, you would know that before you get in too deep. Um, and you will be able to, you know, say, I like my women kind of modest, but a lot of people will get with a woman that is sexually liberated or free spirited, or, has a little bit of a provocative wardrobe. And instead of them saying, nah, I like my women modest, they want to get with her and then change her. Some men are attracted to that energy when they first meet the woman. And then when they lock her down, they're like, all right, I got you now. I don't want nobody else seeing it. So what we gonna do about that? Sweet Tea Inspiration says, yes, I agree. Acceptance is key in a relationship, on how we show up for each other. I am thankful for the support I receive from the man in my life. Okay, girl. I see you. I love it. Oh, I'm missing a lot. Okay. Realist says, save that for me, my teammates, and everything looking. Okay, so that means that you got to get you a girl that's more modest so that you won't be concerned about whether or not your teammates will see her. Commander Alpha Turkey says, Asha, what if later in the marriage she lost weight and then started dressing more provocative? I also, I think that it's fair to have a conversation about it. What makes you feel comfortable and what doesn't. And hopefully, if, you know, something that she's wearing makes you feel uncomfortable, that she would take that into consideration. But also, if your marriage or your relationship is solid otherwise, and that's just the one thing that you don't like, is that a deal breaker for you? If she says that, I've worked hard for this new body, I'm fit, I want to wear clothes that I've never been comfortable wearing, it's not for other men, it's for me, would you decide that that would be a deal breaker for you if she's not covered up, or if she's not wearing clothes that don't accentuate her shape? Is that enough to make you want to end the relationship? Realist says, I'm big on freedom, but have respect for me. Obviously, he was cool with it. Yep. And some people pointed out that he looked uncomfortable on the red carpet next to Ciara during that time when she had on that dress. But I don't know. I think, especially when it comes to people like Ciara, Beyonce, Rihanna, these are entertainers. So they have costumes, they have things that they wear for their audience, for their fan base, for the events that they go to. So it really kind of comes along with the territory. So when it comes to that, like if you are a man and you're dating an R&B singer and this is the image that she has, then to me it doesn't make sense to be like tripping about that type of stuff. But if you just, the average American couple, and you met your woman and she was dressing modestly, and then all of a sudden she want to pop out and show niggas, then I get where a man may have some concerns and feel a type of way. But I just think to keep each other's feelings in mind, both ends, and also respect each other's decision, um, because you might not always agree. Oop, I'm pushing the wrong buttons. Commander Alpha Turkey says, should a man have authority to tell his wife what to wear? I don't like that. Let me leave it up there for a second. Should a man have authority to tell the wife what to wear? I think that I understand. I've listened to men over the years, and I've listened to men say that oftentimes with them being concerned about what their woman wears is not necessarily to control her, it is to protect her. They feel that, they're putting themselves in a position as the protector. You go in a certain place, if a man comes on to you or says something out of line to you, then it is their place to have to protect you. And they feel maybe it's something that could have been avoided had you dressed more modestly. But that's also kind of like blaming the victim, because if a man is going to be an asshole and flirt with or come on to a woman, it wouldn't matter if she had on a garbage bag, he gonna do it anyway. But I understand men's concern when it comes to certain things like that. But when it comes to control, um, like I would say, what is the root reason? Is it because you don't want other men looking at the woman, or is it because you just don't agree with a woman dressing in that way? And if it's the latter, I think that would be something that should come up early on in the dating process. Like those type of beliefs and um standards for your partner should come out early. It shouldn't be something that you've seen her wear things that you don't necessarily like or agree with, or you've noticed that she's drawn to a certain style that doesn't align with you. I think that's something that should be discussed and decided on early on, versus like waiting until you get deep into the relationship and then like trying to change stuff, change things. And then if something else that you just said that made me think of something. Um, I've heard women, even when it comes not even just to modesty and style, like there's some women that have said that they decided to stay with their man even though his style was whack. They didn't like his style at all. And they decided that they were going to be with him because he has so many other great qualities. And some women have, offered to upgrade their man style or whatever. And then some women have decided to just accept them as is. And they like, it's the best marriage that I've ever had, even though he don't match my fly. So sometimes it's just a matter of letting people be their individual selves, whether you like it or not. It's just what is more important to you. Sweet Tea Inspiration says, I think that's true about entertainers because Tank's wife is out of bounds. He's a performer and he has fans. Yes, I've talked about that before, how there was a woman that came on to the R&B singer Tank in the comments of his Instagram promoting an upcoming show he had. And she basically was saying she had her VIP tickets to meet him. And she was like, she tagged his woman, who was his either girlfriend or fiance at the time. She's his wife now. And said that, do you know what to do with him? Because whatever little flirty word she used. And his woman came and commented and said, oh, you're no longer coming to the backstage VIP, you have been refunded. And I personally think that that is out of line. Your man he's an entertainer. So yes, that was disrespectful, but you already know if that's your man, he's going to go for what he going to go for. If that's all it takes for him to cheat on you with a crazed fan that's out of bounds, then that's a problem within y'all relationship. But otherwise, girl, let that girl talk and have her fantasy. He on stage with his shirt off. People gonna say inappropriate things. You getting the money. You're getting taken care of. It ain't that deep to me. Um, it's Hollywood, yeah. Hollywood, Hollyweird, depending on the day. I've heard a lot of men say they love their wife as she is and disagree with plastic surgery. I've heard that too. And some of these people have become addicted to plastic surgery. So, but you see women do the surgery anyway. Yeah. And a lot of that, when it comes to surgeries and doing it in spite of, sometimes no matter what someone else tells you of how beautiful you are and how they love you as is and all of that, if they're not happy with something with their body, then that's what they decide to do. Um, I think elective surgery is a big deal and runs risks. If you're married with kids, I'd be concerned why my wife wants to do it. Yeah, and that kind of makes me think of Jackie O, DC Young Fly's woman, and how she passed away after surgery. Um, and they have 3 babies. And it was a mommy makeover that she was getting done. And I know that after she passed, DC Young Fly had a lot of interviews that he would say, just make sure your girl feels like, you know, that she's beautiful and tell her she's beautiful and all that. And he probably did all the time, but some that was her. I can't relate yet to the changes that happen with a woman's body after she gives birth, but I've seen it and I know that it's not always easy for every woman to accept her new body. Breasts ain't sitting like they used to. Sometimes I've, seen some people whose breasts are completely flat and deflated basically after giving birth and after breastfeeding. Stomach stretched out, loose skin, stretch marks. Um, you know, butt may not sit the way it once did. And then the health issues that some women face outside of the cosmetic things after giving birth. So sometimes they just want to do that to boost their self-esteem, to boost their self-image. And it is very risky, like electing to have a surgery that you don't medically need is very risky. And like you said, when you have a family and children, that's something you have to consider. Rilla says, I know one thing, I love all natural. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy, Jesus. Nothing compares. Yep, nothing compares. There was this lady on Twitter talking about how she had to have her BBL removed because of how bad the smell was. And she said, like, she called it her sit down air. Some people call it twerk wind, but her sit down air was extremely funky. She said that when she would do her laundry, when she took her laundry out the basket after being washed and dried, it would still be very funky. Linens funky, everything funky. She said she would have to carry around air freshener or perfume when she used the bathroom because it left a scent. And everybody was like, oh, you don't know how to wash? You're not washing properly or anything like that. And she was like, no, it's not my body odor like it's not internal body odor from the front or the back. It's her wounds weren't healing properly. So it was like her incision wounds were probably weeping and draining bacterial pus or something like that had an odor. And I've also heard some BBLs, like the internal whatever's going on internally with the fat and the way it's whatever's happening. I don't really know what all happens within the fat transfer. That some of them emote a certain odor as well because of whatever's going on internally. So it's a lot of different risks. And then some people are not doing what they need to do post surgery, like when it comes to lymphatic drainage, massages, and working out and staying healthy. Like you just taking fat from one place to the other and then just like, okay, I'm good. No, baby, you got work to do. You got to work just as hard as you would have had to work if you tried to get it naturally. Realist knows what's up. Okay. Realist said I just was gonna talk on something just like that later. For real. Message. It's a few stories like that. Yeah, I've heard a few too. It can rot, yeah. And there's, sometimes a body will reject certain surgeries. I know with BBLs, it's your own fat being transferred, but like breast implants or implants, some people got butt implants. Your body can reject it, and you can go through all kind of health issues. So you just have to be careful. I wanted to quickly talk about this one last subject. I don't want to spend too much time on it. Um, Sweet Tea Inspiration says it starts with self-love. Absolutely. So there is a video going around in the blogs now about a 40-year-old man who is engaged and expecting a child with a 17-year-old girl in Georgia. And, you know, people are saying, that he's groomed her. And y'all know I got the new series that I've been talking about, How I Met My Ex-Husband, and I call it Bride and Groomed. Because although I didn't feel that way at the time, as an adult woman looking back on a lot of the situations that we had, and being that I was underage when we met, a lot of it was grooming. So people have their opinions about these large age gaps when it comes to dating. As far as I feel like once you're over 25, if you want to date a 80-year-old, that's your business. I think a lot of times with men dating super young, I often wonder, or women who date super young too, what do you have in common with this young person? What are y'all talking about? Where are you aligning? But I've heard the reasonings being, oh, they come with less trauma, less baggage, they're more malleable, they're more trainable, they're not stuck in their ways, all of these different things. But outside of that, like intellectually and conversationally, like what the hell y'all got in common? So this 40-year-old man is basically going live with the 17-year-old girl. He's not ashamed of it at all. He's like, if y'all knew her, she's a beast or she's a demon, whatever he called her. Like he's basically saying that he can't get her, he wouldn't be able to convince her to do anything that she doesn't want to do. And she said in the background, my man ain't groomed me. My man never gave predator. And so they were talking about the age of consent in Georgia. And the 40-year-old guy was saying that he thought it was 17. And then the girl said it's 16 in Georgia. So you hear his homeboy or some grown man in the background saying even better. So it makes me wonder if there were no age of consent, if it was just like whoever you love, what age would men actually be dating? Would y'all be dating 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 14-year-olds? Because it just seems as if the legalities of it is the only boundary that people have. And some don't even care about that. So when it comes to age of consent, I get that. I understand each state has its own laws. And I don't know how often they update these laws, but I was curious because, again, I met my ex-husband when I was 16. He was 23 in Colorado. So I looked up, what is the age of consent for sexual activity in Colorado is 17. But then it says individuals 17 years or older can legally consent to sexual activity with others regardless of age. And then there's another one that says Romeo and Juliet law, which is close in age exemption. Colorado has a close in age exemption, also known as the Romeo and Juliet law, which allows consensual sexual relationships involving minors who are close in age with their partners. So I get that. Like if you're 17 and your boyfriend is 19, 16 and 18, I understand that. Then it says under Colorado law, 15 and 16-year-olds may legally engage in sexual activity with individuals who are less than 10 years older than them. So to me, that kind of contradicts the first one. But then it says a 15-year-old can have consensual sex with a 24-year-old, but it is illegal for a 16-year-old to have sex with someone who's 26. So a 15 or 16-year-old can have sex with someone within 10 years older than them. But then how does that align with them saying that 17 is the consensual age? So I don't know. So anyway, it says sexual intercourse with someone who is more than 4 years younger than them and 14 years old or younger is a class 4 felony. If the minor is 15 or 16 years old and the offender is at least 10 years older than the minor, it is a class 1 misdemeanor. The exceptions are coaches, teachers, and pastors in Colorado cannot have sexual contact with minors under 18 that they supervise, regardless of consent and age difference. And I remember when I was in high school, there was was he a coach? I think he was one of the security guards. He had got busted for sleeping with one of the students. And I'm just like, I don't get it. Even with these grown ass women teachers that have been getting pregnant by these 14 and 15-year-old boys. And I saw one case where there was a grown woman that got pregnant by like a 13 or 14-year-old boy. And then she sued him or took him to court for child support by when he turned 18. These laws are very interesting to me. So I brought all this up to say, just because you can doesn't mean you should. So legally, it seems like there's loopholes around dating minors, sleeping with minors, but ethically, is it all right? There's power dynamics when it comes to these large age gaps. There's a lack of emotional development in young people. Your frontal lobe isn't fully developed until you're 25. There's so many things that you haven't learned in life or done in life to be dealing with a grown person. And, there's some manipulation that can be involved as well. And it really can change the trajectory of your life being with older people when you're so young. So I don't agree with large age gaps with people under the age of 25. After 25, you develop your frontal lobe. You can rent a car without paying extra. You got a little bit of, life experience. You've been through college. Maybe you've, figured out your career. You're ready to be independent of your parents. You can make better decisions. You can bounce back from things a little bit better. But being 24 and younger, dating somebody, I know everybody's maturity level is different, but I just think that it's just not for me. I don't agree with it. Rilla says it's wicked out there or out here. It is. It's wicked. It's real interesting. Yeah, that frontal lobe. But I don't know. I saw with the situation in the blog with the 40-year-old and the 17-year-old, she had some back and forth with, I guess, one of his exes. I don't know how recent the videos of him with her are compared to these text messages, but the text message came from a previous fiance of his that he left for the 17-year-old. And she blasted him out on Facebook, and she said, Randy Cook has been cheating on me with a 17-year-old who he was sneaking and had living with him and got her pregnant while we were engaged. And then she says, edit, and stop assuming I let him bring a minor around me, because no, the fuck I did. So the text messages, this the this is from the 17-year-old girl. She says, "Cause not gonna lie, I'm starting to realize I deserve better too. He really is an ass. That's all." And she said, "What did he do to you?" She said, "It's a long story." The ex says, "I'm listening. Please just tell me. Like, this situation is messing with my health and I just need the truth." The 17-year-old said, "I'm pregnant and he's leaving for Texas today, and he's been threatening to take my baby from me when he or she is born. He blames me for ruining his life when in reality he ruined mine by getting me pregnant before I had a chance to start a life yet. We're done now, so I wanted to say I'm sorry." Um, Apparently he's known for this, but my dumb ass didn't want to listen. I really do apologize, and I know it's been effing your head up, so I thought I'd try to give you some closure. Which to me sounds like the 17-year-old probably been new about the fiance, probably been going back and forth and didn't give a damn. But now that she's in a messed up position with him, she's feeling apologetic and wanting to reach out with the woman. Now, I know from personal experience that you really can't tell these young girls nothing when we like a man, because when I was her age, wouldn't nobody have been able to tell me nothing about my ex. Um, I've been on many of phone calls going back and forth with his exes, and when I look back as a grown woman, if I was them, I wouldn't even be giving those 17, 16, 17, even 18, 19-year-old girl the time of day to be going back and forth about nothing. But I've definitely had my share of going back and forth talking shit to these grown women that was his exes or his baby moms or whatever. Um, and I think it's the delivery for sure, because you're not trying to hear nothing. But then when a grown woman, whether it's another woman or ex, um, tells you, "Little girl, mind your business," or "Focus on school," or "He ain't this and he ain't that," you're not taking it as advice because they're saying it in a petty way, or a condescending way. So um, I definitely could have and should have taken the advice. Focus on school and mind your business. You ain't ready for that. But can't nobody tell these young girls nothing. So I would just say that you got to learn from your big sisters and big cousins. We out here trying to tell y'all that yes, we did it. We was out there getting picked up from the high schools, and we did it too. So we're not trying to come from a judgmental point of view. It's from a been there, done that. Let me put you up on game point of view. Listen to me, because this ain't what you want. But they don't be listening. So anyway, if you want some full stories about some of the things that I went through, I got a story time series going on my channel called Bride and Groomed. I'm talking about the drama that I went through with baby mama drama, the searching, and it's not just me pointing fingers at my ex. Again, I think I talked about this last night. I don't hate my ex at all. He's resting peacefully. But I feel called to tell my story, and he's a part of the story, and these are true facts, true events that happened. But I really feel called to talk about it because I do think that young girls can learn from my experiences, and it's the stories that I can tell. There's some that I'm going to save for the book, but a lot of them I feel like will be helpful. So you can check out the series. There's 3 episodes out already on YouTube, and I've added some animated reenactments to help you visualize the story. Visit oshacerese.com if you are on your journey of healing, self-love, self-discovery. If y'all know some young ladies that need some guidance or need somebody, a big sister, a big cousin, to put them on game, auntie, depending on how young they are, to put them on game and talk to them about love and life and decision making, you can send them my way as well. Somebody that's going through heartbreak, toxic relationships, you might already be out of it and you just need healing support after that, or you might be in the thick of it. You can always tap in. I'm not just a coach for women, I have male clients as well. if you need someone to hold space for you, support you during your time of need, or to support you on just developing a plan of action for what you are trying to do in your next seasons. Tap in, oshacerese.com. I have some great workshops, courses, journals. You can do one-on-one coaching if you don't know where to start. Just book a discovery call. It's free. We'll get on the call and figure out how I can best serve and support you. Also, like I said earlier, if you are a business owner, a um, content creator, an influencer, if you have ideas or gifts that you just don't know what to do with, or you need some support with managing those, go ahead and book a strategy call. Again, I'm going to be utilizing what you tell me as well as your human design mixed in there a little bit too, to help support you on showing up and making some coins on this social media world that we have, this digital world. So a strategy session, that's what I would recommend for you. And if you are a single, if you are an intentional dater, a hopeful romantic looking for love in 2025, go ahead and tap in. It's on my website now. I updated my website last week. So Intentional Love Collective, you can find that on my website as well. Tap in, add your information, and it will allow me to curate events for singles and invite you with your preferences, desires, and values in mind. I was just trying to see to make sure it's growing. I always try to let y'all know that it is a growing database and it is growing. So events coming soon. I'm going to have a meeting tomorrow about an event this year, hopefully this summer. And I have another meeting on Thursday. So events coming soon. Tap in. Let me give y'all some journaling prompts to wrap this thing up. Let's see what we got for you today based on our conversation. So, again, talking about human design, I want to ask you all to write in your journals tonight or whenever you have pen to paper. Where in my life is my schedule causing me more stress than it's solving? Where in your life is your schedule causing more stress than it's solving? And a part 2 of that is, what would your week look like if you honored your natural energy flow? What would your week look like if you honored your natural energy flow? I know some people that have the most energy at night, so they like to get up and work on the things that they need to get done at night. I know some people who are early risers who like to do a whole lot early and then have the rest of the day to themselves. There are some people that need to do things in spurts. Maybe they get some things done for 20 minutes nonstop and then they take a 5-minute break. Or maybe they do all their things that they need to get done Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so they can kind of be a little bit more lax towards the end of the week. So what does your week look like if you honored your natural energy flow? And since we talked about legalities and ethics, have you ever allowed a legal situation to override what you knew was ethically or emotionally wrong? Like, it's legal, but is it right? Have you ever allowed a legal situation to override what you knew was ethically or emotionally wrong? And that's what we gonna talk about today. That's on that. I appreciate y'all for pulling up on me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What's today? Tuesday? Why do it feel like it's later in the week? I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. It doesn't feel like a Tuesday to me. You can't say that you have. Let me think about that prompt. Have I done something that was legally right? I mean, legal, but not right. Hell, I guess my relationship with my ex, according to this. Well, no, it says 17. I don't know. I'll have to think about that and write it in my journal. I don't know. I'll think about it. But thank you for pulling up, y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for the support. Rilla says it was a dope talk. I'll see y'all in these social media streets. Have a good night. See y'all tomorrow.